How I complied my way out of a parking ticket. A few years ago, I parked in a paid parking lot, but forgot to buy a parking ticket. When I came back a few minutes later, I discovered an $80 ticket on my dash. While I was frustrated about my own forgetfulness, the ticket itself was fair. However, I came to discover that the amount they had charged me was not. Before leaving the lot, I noticed a small detail on the terms and conditions sign at the entrance of the lot. It said that a failure to pay for a parking ticket would result in a $70 ticket, not the $80 that I was charged. While I'm no lawyer, I do know that those signs essentially create an implicit contract upon entering the lot. Therefore, the company was technically violating their own contract by charging me extra. I appealed the ticket, stating that I would be happy to pay the agreed upon $70. But it was rejected. I then reached out directly to customer service, explaining the same situation. They rejected my request to pay the valid $70 because their ticket amounts are non-negotiable. Cue the malicious compliance. I realized that by their own words, they are the ones attempting to negotiate the price by charging me an extra $10. So I called up the supervisor of their claims department. She was already aware of this dispute and immediately attempted to shut me down, saying, "The signage is not up for discussion." I reminded her that their company's policy states that ticket amounts are non-negotiable, and that given what the terms on the sign stated, they were trying to negotiate a higher price. Once again, she shut me down, stating the signage is not up to discussion. The rest of the conversation went something like this. Me: "So where can I escalate this from here?" Her: "There is no more escalation. Next stage is court. Q more malicious compliance Me: "Seems silly to go to court over $10. Don't you think?" Her: "Yeah, it does." Me: "Okay, well, I'll begin the small claims court process over the non-negotiable price issue then." Her: "Okay." I was having fun at this point, and was fully ready to start taking legal steps over this $10 on a matter of principle, and knowing that if I did, the company would immediately cave. Before doing that, however, I sent one final email to the vice president of the company. I explained the whole dispute, explaining the signage, their non-negotiable policy, and how the appeals supervisor told me my next step was to take it to court. I offered them the opportunity to resolve this civilly before going on to that stage. Not even 3 hours later, I got an email back, stating that my ticket had been fully cleared as a courtesy. I called their bluff, maliciously complying to the contract and the take it to court attitude. And it worked. As an added bit of pettiness, I replied thanking them, and CC'd the appeals supervisor. I then directly addressed her, telling her that this is how easy it could have been resolved if she would have actually addressed the signage issue. The moral of this story: push back against parking lot companies. They use shady practices and try to scare people into paying unjustly. Often a simple but credible legal threat will make any issue disappear. Edit. Spelling. Gotta love it when the VP is involved, as they knew the amount they would lose just to call their lawyer is more than the fine. Smart business decision for all. Whenever someone has told me to take it to court, I do. $14 fee to file in small claims court. Collect the appropriate documentation for the judge. Take 1 day off of work. Watch as the defendant begs me to settle, even in the courtroom hallway. Enjoy knowing that the defendant spent thousands, win or lose, to argue with me, and I am undefeated in court. 40. No lawyers. One would think that landlords would be terrified to give me a lease by now. But nope. You handled the situation in the finest manner available. Terms and conditions may apply, or they may not. There are very few employees at any company who are authorized to tell a customer to go ahead and take us to court. I ran a $40 million business line once and had total carte blanche to handle any customer issues by waiving fees, refunding money, etc. But if I ever told a customer to just sue us, I'd have been given a very strict talking to. If a customer had said, "What's the next step from here?" I would have said, "There's nothing. I'm it." But I would never had suggested going to court. Well done. It's the principle of the matter. Did you notice if they changed the sign to $80? I love seeing pettiness. Man, just amazing to read MC. Especially when it's basically pushing back against other businesses or the government itself. Beautifully handled op. Well done. Not a parking lot, but a city. I'm not gonna name the city because I don't want to dox myself further than I already do. But a well-known medium-sized college city in the US has a law on their books which states that all parking tickets given by city police officers are non-refundable, even when it is provable that the ticket was given under false pretenses. That is to say, you can pay the meter, park fully within the line, not overstay. But because a police officer made a mistake, or they knew exactly what they were doing, you now have to pay a parking ticket. Non-negotiable, non-refundable, cannot be cleared, cannot be contested. You cannot go to court over it. It's the law. Principle. Wonder who was getting the extra $10. There is one massive reason they canceled your ticket rather than letting you pay $70 or test it in court. If they had done either of those things, every $80 they had ever issued would be void. I don't think a parking company has a right to give you a ticket like that and force you to pay. If you want to come back, they can kick you out for not paying, but otherwise, they can't force you to pay. Her mistake was telling you that court was your only next option. You never, ever, tell anyone to sue. But did they change the sign? It was more the fact that it would cost them more in legal fees that they would lose in court than the $70 difference. The claims person probably wanted to say, "Thanks for bringing the sign to our attention. I'll get that raised and I can take payment of the $70 from you now." Instead, the company figured screw it and decided to cut out the lawyers and court fees and gave you an out. Very few companies provide the frontline staff independent decision making to adjust totals and give discounts, etc. Those that do usually get better quality frontline staff. I just don't pay private company fines. I don't think there is any obligation to pay here. Push back against police fines as well. A lot of the time, they don't follow proper procedures or gather evidence legally, so their case will collapse in court. I'm aware that one PD that just routinely drops case if they go to court. Their thinking is, if we issued 50 fixed penalties and have to drop 2 as they were challenged, will we still issued 48 penalties and hit our targets? I then directly addressed her, telling her that this is how easy it could have been resolved if she would have actually addressed the signage issue. Maybe like in any other corporation, the person who answers your call have no authority to void tickets, and when you email president of company, he just void it completely because his time is worth more than dealing with your $10. It's also legal and encouraged to destroy parking lot armbars when the machine won't accept your ticket and the call button is not working. BTW. In my head it is. There's a parking ramp near me that constantly has an issue accepting tickets and the call button never works, so the exit armbar is constantly demolished. Lol.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.